Hi, everybody. This is Chris from Zoho Sales IQ, joined by my colleague here.
Hi everyone, my name is Karthik. I'm from Zoho.
So, we're both going to present to you various tips and tricks about how to maximize your business by connecting Zoho Sales IQ with the Zoho Forms on your website. And if you're new to Zoho Forms, then you can join in today by finding out what Zoho Forms does and how it can help improve your business by working with Zoho Sales IQ. So we have some slides lined up for you along with a real-time presentation at the end of which we will be taking your questions. So you can keep sending your questions whenever you have them, but we will answer them all after the conclusion of today's webinar. So stay tuned and let's begin now. So what we're going to talk about today is not just Zoho Sales IQ, not just Zoho Forms, but how both of them together can benefit your business. So before we proceed, we'd like to let you know what we will be covering in this webinar today. So for those of you who are new to this webinar, who are new to Zoho Sales IQ, we're going to give you a very brief introduction about what this Zoho product is. If you're using Zoho One, for instance, then you would already be familiar with Zoho Sales IQ, but may not necessarily know how to use it. So this will be a good chance for you to find out how to use one more Zoho product available in your Zoho One bundle. And after that, we're going to talk about web forms in general and how they can help your business. Most of you already will be using them, contact forms, for instance, but there are different ways in which you can use web forms. So we're going to just briefly look at that. You need to know what they do before you can start using them on your website. So we will be covering them briefly. And next, we will be talking about how Zoho Forms is different from the web forms that Zoho CRM already offers. Now, many of you who are using Zoho CRM will be familiar with the latter. So we'll have to first clarify the differences between these two very different products before we can proceed to talk about other things. And this is one key difference between Zoho Forms and Zoho CRM web forms, but not the only one. We will be talking about how different it is and how to make this form seamlessly integrate with your website and make it appear really attractive for your users to use. And finally, we need to find out how to integrate Zoho Sales IQ and Zoho Forms together. Remember, this wasn't possible until recently. This is a brand new capability that was introduced to both the products. So we're going to find out how to integrate both of these together. So old-time Zoho Forms and old-time Sales IQ users, you might want to pay attention to this because it wasn't available before. And this is the first time we are officially making an announcement of it and demonstrating it to you. So all those who are completely new to Zoho Sales IQ, we need to first tell you what Sales IQ is. There are different ways of doing that, but let me take the shortest route. Sales IQ is nothing but a live chat capable application, but it's not just a live chat tool alone. It is more than a live chat tool. So what else does it do? So apart from giving you or your visitors the ability to connect with you, it also lets you analyze them, track them via the visitor tracking capability. So the visitor engagement, which comes through the live chat module, and the visitor tracking module together make Zoho Sales IQ. So that is what Zoho Sales IQ is if you're not familiar with it. Live chat plus tracking. Remember that. So now that we have seen briefly, very briefly, what Sales IQ is, the question that will be asked is why would anybody need it? Why would somebody need a live chat or a tracking application to be on their website? The answer is pretty obvious, especially for bundle users like CRM Plus or Zoho One subscribers. or even other people who are using only Zoho Forms for that matter, you would realize that you're probably already using a CRM, maybe Zoho CRM. You're already using an email marketing application, probably Zoho Campaigns. Along with that, you probably also use an help desk or ticketing application, maybe Zoho Desk. So what happens is when you put Sales IQ into the equation, it fits into all these existing application very well. Sales IQ connects with your CRM, so it can track existing leads in your CRM as well as generate new ones from the chat. It also connects with your email marketing tools by letting you see what people from campaigns are doing on your website. So you just don't see who opened your email, you also see what they do on the website. And when it comes to help desk and ticketing application, from a support perspective, the live chat capability of Sales IQ lets you see what existing open tickets somebody has and how to answer their questions even before they ask you. So sales, support, and marketing, all of them can be handled by Sales IQ with your existing applications. So now that we have seen why somebody needs Sales IQ on their website, we need to also look at the reason behind connecting Sales IQ and Zoho Forms. Basically, the reason behind this webinar itself. So why would anybody have to connect these two completely different Zoho apps together? What do they benefit from that? First, of course, is this. So as you can see on the screen, it allows you to track people who submit your forms. So somebody comes to your website and fills up a registration form for an event and then goes away. Your salesman has to call them and explain something. But wouldn't it be better if your salesman also knows how the person found your website in the first place? Was it through an advertisement on Google, maybe your social media page, or something else? Sales IQ can give you that information. So you know where the person who submitted the form came from, what they did on the website, and all other related information, something you didn't have before. You can also find out information like which city or state or country they are currently in when they submitted the form. So this amount of data can come in if you integrate both. Not just that, it also analyzes the sales funnel or sales cycle on your website. You can track somebody who visits your website for the first time, see how they explore your product, sign up for a trial, and finally purchase a product. So the entire sales cycle from introduction to your services to all the way to subscription can be seen in real time on Sales IQ. We'll show you how that works and you will understand what I mean by this. Of course, knowing what your visitors need will go in a long way in helping your salesmen succeed by customizing their sales pitch. So if you have seen what pages your visitors have spent more time on, that, for example, tells you where their interests lie. So you can focus on them and then on other related pages or topics that they may be interested in instead of just trying to talk about everything and wasting both people's time. And of course, when you find out where the majority of your website's traffic comes from using Sales IQ, you will be able to focus your marketing efforts better on those platforms. So if you think social media is getting you more traffic, then you're going to be more active on that instead of paying Google to spend on the expensive AdWords, which probably are not getting you all that enough traffic. So this tells you the source of the traffic and how much of it accounts for your website's traffic. So this combined with the submissions people make on the form will help you improve your overall marketing effectiveness by focusing where the traffic comes from. So visitors become leads and then your customers. So here's a sample, a real snapshot from the Sales IQ application's dashboard. So there are lots of things here. I'm just going to skip to the important part on the right. So you can see I've just picked up a random visitor here. His name is Ram. You can see on the top left corner. And on the right side, you can see little arrow marks pointing to different things. These are basically Ram's navigation uh, details on our website. So at the bottom, you can see he visited a website called Zilka Travels. He landed on the homepage. From there, he explored the holiday packages available on that website, and then he checked out the European tour package and then the pricing. So this is a very simplified look at how a customer might behave on your website. So if I were a salesman, I can see that Ram is interested in traveling to Europe and he's been checking out the European packages pricing. So when I call him, I can customize my sales pitch by talking about that and related products. So this helps me save time. And you can also see in the sixth tile, which is in the second row on the right, where it talks about the email campaign from which he found my website. So the email campaign is titled 10 Reasons to Travel to Europe this summer. So this tells me that this particular person reached my website from an email campaign. If it was from a Facebook campaign or something, it will say that there. I also know where this person is from, which country and which state, and I also know whether he's a new visitor or not. So if you filled up an inquiry form on my website, powered by Zoho Forms, I will be able to combine this information with that and increase the chances of closing a deal with this person because I'm giving him exactly the information he needs. And not just visitors who are currently online on your website. Sales IQ's dashboard also allows you to look at historical data. So, visitors who visited your website a year ago and purchased something, you can look them up, see what they have done in case they call you back. You can add notes so that you know what to give them or what to tell them the next time you call them. So all this data will be connected to your Zoho CRM and will also be available here in your Sales IQ dashboard. So we're going to also briefly see what web forms are now that we have seen how the tracking information works and how to put it to use. So for those of you who are completely unfamiliar with web forms, a word that we've been using again and again since this webinar started, here's an example. So we have a couple of examples lined up. You would have seen forms like this on websites you visited. So you fill up all this information, you send it to that person, and then they call you back. So it's a submission that you make online. So here's another one, for example, a volunteer registration form. So different forms have different requirements, different data that they need to collect. They can be designed radically different. This one, for instance, is designed as a pop-up, so you can play around with your forms in any way that you want to make them as attractive or as user friendly as you want them to. The objective: get people to give you information voluntarily. So now that we have seen what web forms are, it would be easier for us to explore what Zoho Forms does. So I'm going to let my colleague here, a Zoho Forms specialist, explain these things. But before you can explain about Zoho Forms, Karthik, you should probably tell our viewers here what's the main difference between Zoho Forms and Zoho CRM's web forms. Because Zoho CRM's web form also allows you to collect data. It also allows you to customize the fields. So how different is Zoho Forms from Zoho CRM's forms?
All right. So the web forms in Zoho CRM, it's already a great tool to collect leads from a website and push them into CRM. But then there are users who look for more customization options, and that is where Zoho Forms comes into the picture. You can design attractive forms like these with Zoho Forms. We have a custom theme builder that lets you configure any kind of form that you want that suits your website perfectly, that reflects your brand image, and that reflects the identity of your company. And with Zoho Forms, you can break your huge long form into multiple pages. Here's a sample form with multiple pages that I've designed for you. You can give a description about what you're talking about, and then halfway through, if someone decides to quit their form submission and return back, we have a feature called Save and Resume that lets anyone to stop a form submission then and there, come back and proceed their form submission later. Also, you can collect payments online with Zoho Forms. We are integrated well with a couple of payment gateways that lets you collect payments online with your online forms. For example, if you're accepting registrations for a webinar from your website, you've put up a Zoho form there on your website. You can collect a registration fee from your registrants straight away from your online form. And then the field types. Zooforms supports all the basic kind of field types ranging from contact fields like names, email address, phone numbers, and multiple choice fields, drop-down choices, and all those basic field types. In addition to that, we also provide a description field that lets you add terms and conditions, disclaimers, instructions, and all of that. With the image choices field, you can replace your text choices with images. And also, with rating scales, you can let your respondents rate you on a scale of 5, 10, or whatever number that you can define. You can also let your respondents download their form submissions as a PDF once they complete a form. And you can also merge your form submissions into a document, for example, an invoice copy or an official report or a cover letter, whatever it may be for that matter, and then send it across to your users. Zoho Forms also integrates well with Zoho's suite of applications, ranging from Zoho CRM, Zoho Desk, Sales IQ, Zoho Campaigns, third party CRM applications like Salesforce, Google's Drive, Sheet, and also with Zapier's integration platform, you can integrate well with more than 750 applications online.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. So Zoho CRM, from what I understand, their web forms is more like a basic web form capability. But for those who want a lot more customization, Zoho Forms is the answer.
Yeah,
Okay, all right, that's interesting. But I have this question that came to my mind just now. Almost 40 to 50% of the customers that come to Zoho's website itself are from mobile devices. And that's pretty much the ongoing trend in the world. So our customers also should be getting most of their traffic from mobile devices. How good are Zoho Forms on mobile devices?
Zoho Forms actually are pretty responsive to mobile browsers. You can fill up forms from any mobile device, from any mobile browser, and it works seamlessly on mobile devices. In addition to that, we also have applications designed for Apple and Android devices using which you can create forms as well as submit forms. With the mobile app, you can capture images, scan codes, get signatures, and guess what? It also works offline.
Wow, so I don't have to worry about spotty Wi Fi connections while submitting my forms.
Yeah.
That's good. But you have told me so much about what Zoho Forms can do. But what about how easy it is to do it? Do I need a web developer? Do I need to hire somebody to build a Zoho Forms website?
No, no, not at all. Anybody can go in and create an online form. Building form with Zoho Forms, it's just a drag and drop affair. You don't need to have coding knowledge. You don't need to have any technical expertise to do it.
No coding knowledge. Wow. So how long it's going to take? A few hours to build a form?
Maybe 10 minutes or even less than that.
Well, that's not possible.
No,
I
I bet I can actually create a form within 10 minutes. For example, let's have a bet. I'll create this form within 10 minutes for you and show you how it's done.
$50 says you can't.
I guess I'll do. Start your timer now and we'll see.
Okay, on it.
Yeah. So here, this is the form listing page. So once you sign in, by default, you're taken to this page. To create a new form, click on this new form button. We actually provide you with a set of predefined templates, and there's a contact form that's already in here. If I choose this, I win by a 9-minute margin, but I don't want to do that. Let me play fair. I'll go back and create a form right from scratch for you.
All right. I'm not going to stop my timer though.
Yeah, just wait. Just keep running and see how fast I build a form. So this is the form builder, and I'm going to start adding fields by dragging them into the builder area. And you can define conditions here on the right side pane. For example, I'm going to enter a condition here. You can change the size of a field and make this field as a mandatory field. Similarly, I'll add an email field now and make it as mandatory as well. A phone number field and make this mandatory too. And finally, I'll add a text input field that lets my customers put in comments if they have any. And now I've actually created a form and this is how it looks. Let me go back and design this form now. You click Themes tab from the builder and there is already a set of themes that are available in this gallery. You can choose one if you want. And again, I'll win by a 7-minute margin. I don't want to do that. So I'll go back and create a theme right from the scratch. So this is the
Let me
theme
go back
builder,
and design this form.
wherein you can change almost
Themes
each
tab
and
from the
every
builder.
aspect of this form. You can edit every aspect of
There is
this
already
form,
a set
right
of
from the
themes.
background, fonts, shadows, alignments, transparency, and everything. Let's explore that one after the other. First, let me add a background image. So I'll upload an image from my hard drive and so image has been uploaded. Before it loads, let me align it too. And this is how the image would look as a background. Now, let me add a logo here to the header of my form. And you can align this logo as well. Now, the background element, you can change the colors and the patterns of all the background elements. Let me go ahead and change the background of the submit button now. I'll give it a pattern and then I'll change colors and I'll go and change the fonts. Now I'll go ahead and change the border color of this form again and change the type of this border, the field's border, and also change this color, the submit button's color, and I'll align this form to the right now. Add transparency effects to each element of this form, right from the header, the container, the footer, and you can also change the form's width. Alright, so here's the form, and I win.
Wow, you're done. That's just 3 minutes 47 seconds. I was even timing you.
Yeah,
That's pretty fast.
that's too fast, I guess, like a rocket.
Yeah, instant noodles isn't this fast.
Yeah,
Okay, so you have built the form, and yes, it took less than 4 minutes for you to do it, and yes, there was not a single line of coding that was involved. But how exactly am I supposed to connect to Sales IQ? I bet there's going to be several steps involved.
so before connecting to Sales IQ, let me first show you how to put this form on a website now, so that
Right.
it'll be easier for us to integrate with Sales IQ later.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll get back to the builder and you click on the Share tab on top. On the left side, you can see there are a lot of options that's available now for embedding your form on a website. We'll choose an iframe You just have to copy this iframe source code from this page and paste it into one iframe source code on Zoho sites
Or any other website
or
you
any
have.
other website builder for that matter. In this case, we'll use Zoho sites. You can change the iframes height and other aspect ratios, everything else here, and click OK. And there is your form on your website.
So just copy paste.
Just copy paste into the site builder, into the iframe element, and your form is there on the web page.
So it probably isn't going to take you more than 2 minutes to add this form to your website.
Nothing more than 2 minutes.
Okay. So now that it is there on the website, how do we connect it to Sales IQ?
Yeah, we'll again get back to the builder now and click integrations tab here on top and choose sales IQ from the menu and click integrate. You'll have to choose the portal and website name and proceed. Here it's just field mapping, just a breeze. You just have to select the fields from the broadband boxes and map them to the specific corresponding fields in Zoho Forms. So that's it, the integration is done within 30 seconds now, and you've got the sales IQ tracking code straight inside Zoho Forms itself. You just have to copy this now, get back to the site builder, paste this code snippet in your Zoho sites, and we are good to go now. Let's go ahead and publish this site and see how long it takes.
Sure.
Okay, so here is the website with the form that we had published, and here is the Sales IQ chat widget.
Right. Which can be hidden if you don't want to see it there.
Yeah, if I don't want to see, I can hide this widget too. But let it stay. We'll
Mhm.
go ahead and do a test submission now.
So we're basically simulating a visitor visiting one of our customers' website and filling up the form.
Yes, and we'll just add a dummy number here
Mhm.
and submit this form now, and we'll get back to Sales IQ. So far, it has been some tracking code here inside, and let's see how it turns to a customer's name Sales IQ.
So normally every visitor who visits Sales IQ comes up with a random system assigned number. But once they use the live chat or in this case a form or something like that, immediately Sales IQ finds out who they are and their number changes to their name. So what this does is you will be able to see everything they did on your website, all the pages they went to, just like how we saw earlier in the demo with the example of Zilker pricing and Zilker tours. So it gives you the complete details here. So if you have a salesman, he's going to look at the form submission data in the CRM and then compare it with Sales IQ generated data and be able to convert that lead into a customer right away. Okay. So this is how the system works. We have seen how you add the forms to your website. We can probably submit another form just to give you an idea on this just published website here. So the idea is pretty simple. Your visitors don't know any of this back-end integration between different apps. They just come to your website, they explore it, and they fill up a form, probably asking for information, maybe getting a quote or booking a demo or something like that. But once they do that, Sales IQ connects that information with the data that's been collected elsewhere. So you can see Richard. has been logged into the system, and you can see how we got to the website. Since we have been using this to do a couple of demos, it says 5 visits, but in a real case you will see the exact visits made by that visitor on your website. The information about everything they did on the website on each visit can be seen here too. So it explains everything there, and all the visitor had to do is just submit the form. So let's just demonstrate it to you again, just to give you an idea of how easy it is to fill up the form. And forms like these are so widely available that you don't have to worry about asking all of this information. But remember, the more you know about your customers, such as their name, their email, and at least what they like, the better it is for you. You will have more information to deal with them. So if you look at this particular screenshot, you notice that both the visitors earlier were only identified by their numbers, a random system assigned number. But as soon as my colleague here sent in a form under the name of Miss Elizabeth, you can see that it was replaced with that person's name. So Elizabeth at Zilga.com. So as he moves across the website and does different things, that will also update here. So after the visitor has filled up the form, your salesman notices it and thinks that this is a valuable lead and sends a chat right from the Sales IQ dashboard. And there you go. It pops up on the visitor's side under the salesman's name. So you can probably connect with them right away, even if you prefer not to call them. So close a hot deal while they're still hot. So that's the benefit of connecting both these wonderful apps together. We hope that it was useful to you, and thank you so much, Karthik, for explaining everything.
Thanks, Krish. Thank you so much.
So, as promised earlier in the webinar, we will be taking questions. So, please keep sending them in. And whenever we answer them, the responses will be visible to everybody else. So, even if you don't have questions to ask, you can still look at other questions and the answers we give them. Maybe it will address something that you wanted to ask but slipped your mind right now. So, once again, thank you for joining us and happy selling with Zoho Forms and Sales IQ.
Thanks, everyone, from Karthik here.
Bye, guys.